Chandra sir, please start.
Okay. Good morning to all the participants joined online mode. So today we have Dr. R.D. Yadav, qualified ICAR Institutional Research Fellowship for the Master's Degree Program and completed his MSc Animal Nutrition from NDRI Karnal in 2017. Dr. Yadav was awarded institutional fellowship and pursued his PhD program from NDRI Karnal itself in 2021. On November 25, 2013, he was appointed as assistant professor in the Department of Animal Nutrition at the College of Veterinary Sciences, Dubai, Sumatra. Dr. Yadav had a profound engagement in the instructing, investigating, and expanding on several aspects of the animal nutrition. He worked in the field of mitigating of enteric methane emission from livestock. He has lifetime membership of Animal Nutrition Society of India, life member of Society of Conservation of Domestic Animal Biodiversity, Haryana. He has published one book, 9 magazine articles, 3 research articles in international journals, 5 research articles in national journals. Dr. Yadav is associated with 3 externally and institutional funded research projects. Dr. Yadav attended number of national and international conference, symposia, online training, etc. Along with that, they have vast knowledge of industry also. So with the short biodata, I want to invite Dr. R.D. Yadav to deliver his lecture. Dr. Yadav,
Sir,
can you hear me? Yeah, you just start your presentation. I've introduced.
thank you so much, sir. A very good morning to all of you. And thank you, sir, for introducing me. So let's start with my topic, that is the least cost feed formulation by use of the locally available feed resources. Is I am audible, sir?
Audible perfectly.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. So this is the overview of my presentation. This is the we will deal with the nutrient composition of common feed and fooders, ration, and what is the balanced ration, their impact, nutrient requirement of dairy animals. Then the main topic, least cost ration formulation, and the conclusions. So I will start with the very basics. What is the fate of nutrient in livestock? Say example, whatever we use to feed the animals, this consists of six kinds of nutrient only. That is the water, carbohydrate, protein, lipid, minerals, and vitamins. The first, the digestion takes place, and some part go in the feces, and nutrient come into the blood, then metabolism, then whatever the nutrient they use for the maintenance, growth, work, like and production, like milk, egg, meat, and etc. So start with the very basic. What is the basic differences between the different kind of livestock? For example, ruminants. These are the multi-compartment stomach animals. They have the whole 4 compartments. Then hindgut fermenters, they have very you can say large complex intestine, like rabbit, horses, and monogastric animals, very simple, like human beings, and example cat and poultry, swine, etc. So if we talk about the rumen, in the first week of life, it is only 25%. And at the maturity, when maturity comes around 3 months of age, rumen comprises of 80%. It means in case of ruminants, there is a huge changes from the birth to the complete development of the rumen, and the major digestion of ingredient, you can say fermentation, takes place in the rumen only. As I discussed earlier, in case of ruminants, the stomach is compounded stomach, and it is consist of 4 units: rumen, reticulum, abomasum, and omasum. Abomasum is the true stomach. In case of rumen, where does the feed digest? In rumen, fermentation takes place, as I earlier discussed. For example, crude protein, carbohydrate, NDF, and NFC, etc. And then it go to the small intestine, where the enzymatic digestion takes place. For example, true protein, starch, lipids, and the some in large intestine, bacterial digestion also takes place. So fate of fermentation product, whatever we have obtained in the during the entire process of digestion, like organic acid, microbial protein, and the gases, where they absorb, it is mentioned here. For example, organic acid in rumen and in hindgut, microbial protein recycled, and in gases, feces, and by the blood. So we will discuss the basic complete digestion in case of the ruminants. Say example, protein. Protein, it includes non-protein nitrogen and true proteins. When you give the protein, it go to the microbial protein cell sheet in the rumen, and feed protein, it is consist of 3 units. That is the rumen degradable protein, RDP, rumen undegradable protein, and what was the rumen undegradable protein? It go to the abomination, where it get digested and converted into amino acid, and the digested protein, but it is in case of the rumen, that consists of microbial protein, both combined form the amino acid, which is utilized by the animal for the growth, maintenance, and production. And in the rumen, in case of carbohydrate, like cellulose, hemicellulose, and starch also, the glucose converted into VFA, and their cycling takes place. And the VFA is the main energy source of in case of ruminants. Then in case of fat, as I earlier discussed, it metabolized in the small intestine in fatty acid and triglycerides. Then this is the basic classification of feed and foders in case of ruminants. So whatever feed stuff we have, they are divided in 2 parts. That is roughage and concentrate. Roughage basically may be divided in further 2 parts: succulent and dry. In succulent, legume and non-legume, and dry like hay and straw. And in case of concentrate basically are divided into 3 parts: energy feeds, protein supplements, and other. Energy feeds, it consists of mainly cereal grains, their byproducts, and in case of protein supplement, they may be two subcategory: animal sources and plant sources. Plant sources, like so many plant proteins are there, like mustard oil cake, so soybean cakes, and groundnut cake, etc. And animal origin protein like fish meal, meat meal, etc. And others, example minerals and vitamin. So this is the example. This is the example of with this classification. Roughage in terms of nutrient, in terms of nutrition, is defined as the having more than 18% crude fiber and less than 60% TDN. Where is concentrate having less crude fiber, means below 18%, and more than 60% TDN. This is the basic classification in roughage and concentrate on basis of nutrient basis. And I have already discussed example leguminous, what are the food fodder comes, and non-leguminous and concentrate. So we will come to their composition of basic feed ingredient what we are using. Say example cotton seed cake, their protein value and TDN value, the basic classification. And say example sunflower cake having 30 to 32% protein and around 69% TDN. And maize gluten meal, commercially maize gluten meal comes in 3 categories: 20%, 30%, 60%, and their protein content and TDN content mentioned in the slide. Likewise, other ingredient like rice polish and wheat bran, wheat grain, maize grain, sorghum, millet, etc. And urea having the protein content, it content of 46% nitrogen, so its protein equivalency will be 287. So some more feed ingredient which were used for concentrate formulation. For example, maize, bajra, rice polish, wheat bran, soybean meal, groundnut cake, and fish meal. In case of maize, maize grain is the main ingredient for poultry, and as well as in case of ruminants also, it contains CP around 9.2, etheric rate 3.8%, and rice polish having the much more etheric rate around 16%. And in case of protein substances like soybean meal, groundnut extract, they have a higher protein value like 45%, and the groundnut extract around 40 to 42%. Then nutrition value of some important foders. Important fodder like maize, Sudan grass, bajra, oats, cowpea, lucerne, basine. In case of maize, DCP, here we are describing the DCP and TDN value. DCP 1.17. I'm talking about the foders like bajra, it's a 1.08 and TDN value 14.8. Cowpea 3.0, like cowpea 3.05% and TDN 11.2. So then on the basis of nutrient value, the roughages are basically divided in three parts. One, having the maintenance type, they have the DCP 3 to 5%, like green, maize, oats, etc. Non-maintenance type of roughages having the DCP less than 3%, like ISTA, Pedrista, Wheatista, etc. And production type roughages, those having the DCP value more than 5%, like Barsim and Lucerne. So this is those are the common basic ingredients what we used to use during the concentrate formulation or ration formulation. And nowadays, due to the scarcity, so many non-conventional feed resources are also being used. So I have listed some non-conventional feed resources like energy sources and protein sources and miscellaneous. Energy sources like vilayati bubble pods, apple-based cocoa pods, coconut pith. Likewise, in case of protein sources, ambly cake and dhecha seeds, guar meal, most common non-conventional feed source now being used in industry, and Niger seed cake, rubber seed cake, soba seed, sunham seed. These are the protein sources which are being used in industry to counter the you can say demand of non-availability of basic feed ingredients. And some miscellaneous sources also, the sugarcane top, bubble pods, citrus byproducts, jackfruit waste, palm and potato waste, etc. So some nutrition value of unconventional feed resources also, like vilayati bubble pods having the TDN content 65%, CP 12%, cocoa pods TDN 63%, DCP 6.3%. Guar meal, I already discussed guar meal. At present scenario, it is mostly used in the dairy industry. In so many feed millers, even the industry using this. And it is rich in methionine, cysteine, lysine, and a good source of vitamin minerals also. It have a good TDN value, and CP value is much more, you can say, equivalent to basic protein sources like soybean meal and groundnut cake, etc. The problems is that the non-conventional feed resources presence of anti-nutritional factor. So almost all unconventional feed resources having the anti-nutritional factor. So we have to counter them by different methods like autoclaving and by soaking, whatever the different methods have been prescribed to counter their anti-nutritional factor before using or incorporating these ingredients in the final concentrate formulation or ration formulation. Some other like dhecha and it has CP percent around 32.7%, good source of lysine and methionine. And sugarcane top, very widely used, TDN 45%, CP 3%, and it is deleterious factor oxalate. The problem is that if you are feeding too much sugarcane top to the animals, it contains the deleterious factor, anti-nutritional factor named as oxalate. It combined with the calcium, and the longer time the animal you show the deficiency of calcium deficiency due to the calcium oxalate formation by this sugarcane top. Then palm tree, it has a TDN value around 40%, CP 3.5%. It contains a tannin. Uh, and like kusum cake, also TDN value, good TDN value around 80% and CP 20% around. And antinuclear factor, it contains cyanogenic glycosides. Likewise, tomato waste, nutrient value 55%, TDN value, and CP 15%, and it has generally no deleterious factor. They are prone for the microbial infection, high soluble carbohydrate content. Then jar cake gluten, TDN 67%, CP 10%, and subabul seed. And subabul, the main intentional factor, well known, is the mymosine. So we have to deteriorate before using these seeds in the concentrate formulation. So till now we have understand the basics of the ruminants and their digestion process, and what are the fodder, their classification, and what are the nutritional value in terms of CP and TDN. So we have an overview on the feeding ingredient, whatever you are using in conventionally or non-conventionally in present scenario. So now the main part start with the ration and balancing of ration. So start with the ration. What is the ration? As we know, ration is a feedstuff offered for a given animal a time period of 24 hours. Then what about the balanced ration? A balanced ration is one that furnishes all the nutrient in such proportion and amount that it will properly nourish a given animal for 24 hours. So what the functions of the ration? Basically, ration have a basic 5 functions. It is used for the maintenance of the animal, and maintenance requirement is fulfilled. Then it is used for the growth. It is used for the fattening in case of pigs, in reproduction and production in case of animals and milk, and in case of hen egg production, and work in case of draught animal, and so many in case of horses and ponies for the work purpose. So all the functions we use to take from the animal, that is the delivered by the ration only, which provide all the essential nutrient to them. So what are the consequences of imbalanced feeding in dairy cows? If we don't feed the balanced ration to the dairy animals, what will the consequences? So here enlisted the major consequences like poor growth and reproduction, and longer calving interval and shorter lactation length. Most important, low milk production and shorter productive life. Say example, in case of cattle, we considered around 300 days of productive life, and but if we imbalance the diet, the cows become dry earlier, and increase of metabolic disorders like milk fever, ketosis, and ROP. So many metabolic disorders are there, and and increased carbon footprint also. So if it is about the imbalance ration, what is the if we excess feeding? Because due to the imbalance, either we feed excess or we feed indeficient. So if we feed excess, there is a waste of nutrient, and nutrient is secreted in feces, and which created the environmental pollution, and obviously it will cost more to the feeding cost and less profit. And if we are underfeeding, there will be so many consequences like in production decreases, and their BCS will be deteriorate day by day, and health status deteriorate, and the reproduction cycle and sign and symptoms will not show in proper way. If you're feeding high concentrate feeding due to the imbalance, if first condition comes in the SARA, means subacute ruminal acidosis, and then if we are continuing the same, it will converted into the acidosis, clinical acidosis. And if you feed the low energy diet, the ketosis will occur. Cattle and sheep are more prone ketosis, due to the low energy content of the feed, ketosis will occur, and animal body weight deteriorate, BCS will deteriorate day by day, and low milk production will take place. And low protein diet, poor growth in case of broilers if you are giving the imbalanced diet to the poultry. And low calcium diet, the most important disease, it comes to the milk fever. And if low calcium diet in case of layer hens, it will lead to the lethargic egg and weak bones and the rubbery beaks in case of laying hens. So we have understand that there are so many consequences of feeding imbalanced ration in case of poultry, in case of dairy animals, whether it is cattle or in buffalo. Then what are the benefits of the feeding balanced ration? Just are their vice versa. What are the example? Improvement in the milk production and their quality in case of fat and HNF, and improvement in the reproductive efficiency, and reduction in the calving interval and reduce risks of productive life, improvement in the growth rate, and better immune response, better diseases, immunity in terms of there is a proper amount of immunoglobulins like IgG, IgM, and IgA. Reduction in methane emission, it has been shown in so many studies that around 15 to 20% percent per kg of milk methane is produced. If you are giving the balanced ration, there will be less methane production. As you all know, methane is a greenhouse gas, and we have to reduce their content. And reduction in nitrogen extraction also. It is a field study in 2019. It has shown that there is in field scenario. It was a study in Western UP in Samli district. Here we can see there is a huge imbalance in case of rural area, in case of feeding pattern and their nutrient content. So this slide the population of acidity and nutrient deficit and excess also. You can see here either they are in deficient or in excess in terms of different nutrient like dry matter and CP content also, TDN, Me, calcium, and phosphorus also. So if you are not giving the balance ration to the animals, so many problems will take place. So now the next most important part is then how we have learned about what is the importance of balanced ration, what their consequences if you are feeding the imbalanced ration, what are the nutrient, their nutrient values, and so now what is the steps and how we formulate a ration. So there are these are the factors we have to consider during the ration formulation, and by considering these factors, we will give an output in form of very good balanced ration. So, see example, start with when we are going to formulate a ration, we have to consider the animals' age, weight, functions, and environmental conditions. So many standards are given, like BIS standard and ARC standards are given for their requirement base, and so formulate a ration of various physiological stages like maintenance, growth, gestation, and lactation. And then comes on the select the suitable ingredient to help ensure that the ration is nutritionally balanced, palatable, safe, and economical. And practical formation should be flexible to accommodate price and available feedstuff. In particular, minimum level of NDF and ADF, because ADF contain lignin, which is non-digestible, so we have to keep the minimum NDF as much possible ADF. So no doubt fiber is required for the ruminant to digest, and minimum 35% NDF required for the proper fat, fat content and production in animals, but we have to reduce the ADF content. So, and again, diet should be in proper balance in terms of amino acids also, and the other characteristics of the ration should meet their basic requirements and daily requirements and their consumption. We have to aware about the what are the raw material and their nutrient value before just formatting the ration, and we have to consider the locally level feed resources, their nutrient value also, and no doubt ration should be the economical, and likewise in continuation it should fulfill the demands of the animals, and ration should be the ration should have the long shelf life, and well balanced rations fed twice a day. It should be clean, digestible, palatable, nutritious, and economic also. It should invariably contain the dry and green fodder and concentrate also. And then certain change in the diet should be avoided. It should also contain minerals and vitamin in required amount, in appropriate amount. So their negative effect or inappropriation consequences should not be there. And likewise, we have to provide clean drinking water also. Inclusion of limiting amino acid like lysine, methionine in the feed may cause protein, but when we are considering the higher production level, like for example, more than 30 liters of milk production, we have to consider the amino acid balance also. As already discussed, use of non-conventional feed ingredients will also be there. Like so many non-conventional feed sources are there. I have discussed earlier slide. So, and the one point is that the feed for the maximum profit, not for the maximum production. It has said that we are going for the balance ration. So we have to economical consideration should be there also. So comes on the nutrient requirement. We know what is the ration, balance ration, how we have to formulate, what are the points to be considered during the ration formulation. Then what is their requirement? How can we determine? So for these, so many feeding standards are there, which provides the data and tables for the growth, maintenance, lactation, egg production, and wool production of different category of animal, and for like poultry and cattle and sheep, goat. So these are the basic expression of nutrient in different feeding standards. We, in case of India, we use to ICR standard, which is the content protein predicted by the DCP and CP, and energy, TDN, and ME value. And so many standards are there, NRC, ARC, NRC based on CP and DCP, and the energy predicted by the TDND and anyways. Daily requirement of daily requirement of nutrient requirement of cattle buffalo as per ICR 2030. We have here I am providing some data regarding the body weight and their requirement as per the ICR standard. I am using the ICR 2013 standards. So start with the energy requirement. Maintenance energy requirement of for indigenous animals vary between 61 to 104 kilocalorie ME per kg of metabolic body weight in case of dry cow, and in case of lactating animals it varies between 1113 to 160 kilocalorie ME. ICR adopted to value of energy requirement for maintenance to be equivalent to 122 kilocalorie ME per kg of metabolic body weight for both cattle and buffalo. And for lactating Haryana, for example, it is 127 kilocalorie ME per kg metabolic weight. So here is the table for different body weight, their dry matter, energy, and protein requirement of lactating cattle buffalo. Say body weight 200 and their dry matter requirement will be 4.32 kg per day, and TDN requirement will be 1.92. ME requirement in case of in terms of megacalories 6.94, and CP crude protein requirement will be 259. Likewise, say example, a standard body weight 400 and 500, 400 kg body weight, there will be diameter requirement 8.64, TDN requirement 3.27, ME requirement 11.82, and the CP requirement 436 grams. And take example 500 kg body weight, and their diameter requirement will be 10.8 kg, TDN requirement will be 3.88 kg, ME requirement 14.04 megacalorie, and CP requirement will be 5150 grams. So some other requirement like calcium, phosphorus, 500 kg body weight also I have mentioned here, like 500 kg body weight, calcium requirement 23 grams per day, and phosphorus requirement 10 grams per day. Nutrient requirement for maintenance and production. So we have discussed here maintenance requirement. So now production requirement. What is the production requirement for cattle and buffalo, and different level of production in terms of fat content? So if we cattle having 3% fat in their milk, their diameter per kg milk will be required 0.450 kg, means 450 grams, and TDN will be 290 grams, ME 1.05 megacalorie, and CP 96 gram. ICR have given the standard value of crude protein requirement. In case of cattle, this is each kg of milk production, we have to provide 96 grams of protein irrespective of fat content. So here you can see the 96 gram of protein for 3% fat, also 4% fat, 5% fat, 6% fat, and 7% fat also. In Indian condition, most of the cattle fat content vary from 3 to 7% in general. So for the each kg of milk production, the crude protein requirement for the Indian dairy cattle will be 96 gram as per the ICR 2013. So likewise, in case of buffalo, diameter, TDN, ME, and crude protein requirement per kg of milk production in case of buffalo. So, say example, 6% fat we consider as standard fat in case of buffalo. So, for 6% fat, the diameter requirement for each kg of milk production will be 670 grams, and the TDN requirement will be 440 grams. ME requirement will be 1.58 megacalorie, and the CP requirement will be 124 grams. Likewise, in case of some buffaloes have very high fat percentage, even you can say 16% fat are also there. So we have included 10% till 10% fat. Say example, a buffalo producing milk having 10% of fat, so their diameter requirement will be for each kg of milk 930 grams, and the TDN value will be 600 grams, and ME value will be 2.17 and megacalorie, and the CP will be 124 grams. So ICR have given same likewise cattle. In case of buffalo, each kg of milk production, they have given one standard value, that is 124 grams of protein. So in case of buffalo, 124 gram of protein we have to provide for each kg of milk production. Say example, if a buffalo producing 10 liter of milk, so we have to provide 1240 grams of protein per day for the milk production only. So nutrient requirement for growth Growth we are considering at ADG. ADG means average daily gain. Say example, a body weight 100 kg and their body weight gain, average daily gain is around 200 grams. So their diameter requirement will be 2.9 kg, TDN requirement will be 1.33 kg, ME requirement will be 4.78 kg, and CP requirement will be 288 grams per day. And in case of calcium and phosphorus, they have been generalized uh, per 213 grams, you can say 70 to 100 kg body weights. And in case of adult phosphorus, young phosphorus requirement 9 grams per day. So BIS Bureau of Standard Indian Standard have given the some standard for the formatting concentrate. So they have provided two types of cattle feed, type 1, type 2, and recently they have modified it as per the BIS 2023. Type 1 cattle feed and type 2 cattle feed, their values are mentioned here, like crude protein should be in type 1 cattle feed 22%, type 2 cattle feed will be 20%, and they have increased the crude fat content in previous standard. In the present scenario, for type 1, it is 4%, and type 2, 3%. Likewise, vitamins, minerals, and aflatoxin. Aflatoxin, most important, it has been mentioned 20 ppb. It should not be more than 20 ppb in case of both type 1 and type 2 cattle feed. So here are the basic content of the type 1, type 2 cattle feed, whatever provided by the BIS 2023. So start with the steps in ration formulation. So we have discussed about their requirement. What is the requirement of animal according to their body weight and their physiological state, like their like growth, production, and in case of poultry, milk, egg production. In case of cattle and buffalo, milk production, amount of milk production, and maintenance, growth, whatever physiological state is there, we have to consider during the formation of ration, and their maintenance requirement, we have to add them. So now we will step by step consider how to formulate a ration. These are the factors for considering the selecting of feed for the animal. Like first important is the consistency of availability, and nutrient composition and nutrient availability, and consistency of composition, suitability, and perishability, freedom from health hazard, like it should not contain any anti-nutritional factor. Though it is not possible to having any feed ingredient without free from anti-nutritional factor, it varies from the low content to higher content in different feed ingredients. Micronutrient and feed additive, cost and effect on the end product. So these are the factors we have to consider during the selection of feed ingredient. So we have learned the nutrient requirement of different animal, their different feed ingredient, their composition, and their different feeding standards, whatever given their requirement. So first we have to consider the dry matter requirement. So it has been given a general formulation for indigenous cattle. Dry matter requirement is 2 to 2.5 per 100 kg body weight, or we can say 2 to 5% body weight. In case of crossbred cattle and buffalo, it is 3% of body weight. So if a cattle having 500 kg body weight, so their dry matter requirement on the basis of 2% body weight will be 10 kg. So again, further diameter is divided into two parts. That is whatever diameter we are providing to the animal. Say example, we are considering a cattle 500 kg body weight and their dry matter requirement is 10 kg. So we have to fulfill their dry matter in likewise we have to provide 2/3 from the roughage total dry matter requirement and 1/3 from the concentrate. So in case of 2/3 from the roughage, 1/3 from the green fodder and 2/3 from the dry fodder. In case of concentrate, which is used to, you can say 1/3 proportion from concentrate diameter will be fulfilled. So 30% will be from the grain byproducts, 30% will be from the grains, and 40% from the oil. It's just a general consideration. While considering a total dry matter requirement of an animal, we have to consider these points regarding concentrate and roughage, and concentrate, then partition of the different ingredients, and in case of roughage, in partitions like leguminous and non-leguminous, dry and green. 1/3 green fodder, generally we recommend 50% from cereal fodder and 50% from leguminous fodder if availability is there. If not availability, we can go with the green fodder only. So total dry matter requirement will be fulfilled in this manner in terms of roughage and concentrate for normal milk production and normal maintenance of a dairy animal. So in case of commercial dairy farm, I have taken an example. Example, a cow having 500 kg body weight and producing 30 liter of milk production per day. Then what will be their requirement and how will fulfill their requirement? See, as I discussed, diameter requirement 2% body weight. So 500 kg body weight multiplied by 2%, it will be 10 kg. In case of milk production, so there is requirement for milk production also, diameter requirement for milk production also, as I have already discussed, for each kg of milk production on the basis of fat percentage in case of cattle and in case of buffalo also. So diameter requirement in case of so whatever milk production is giving, say example 30 liter milk production. So in a general, we have to consider the 33% of that milk production to fulfill their diameter requirement. So 33 liter multiplied by 33, it will come to 10 kg. So total diameter requirement will be 20 kg. 10 kg for the milk production and 10 kg for the maintenance, body maintenance. So total diameter requirement will be 20 kg. Then in case of crude protein requirement, so in general, we have considered a 500 kg body weight. So each kg body weight, there is requirement of 0.80 grams of protein. So likewise, it will come from 400 grams. Like milk production, I have discussed already, 95 grams of protein required for each kg of milk production. So 30 liter of milk production, total protein requirement will be 2850 grams. So total protein requirement will be by adding maintenance plus production. So maintenance is 400 grams and production will be 2850 grams. So total protein requirement will be 3200 grams. Then energy requirement for in terms of NEL, there is a formation that we have to multiply the body weight with a factor 0.014. It comes around it will come around 7 megacalorie, and for milk production, each kg of milk production we have to put the factor 0.7 megacalorie. So it will comes around 28 megacalorie. So total energy requirement will be 28 megacalorie. So here a 500 kg body weight cattle producing 30 liters of milk, we have calculated their requirement in terms of dry matter, that is 20 kg, in terms of crude protein, that is 3200 grams, and in case of energy, that is 28 megacalorie. So, how we balance? Say example, we have 3 ingredients: maize silage, pelleted feed, and wheat starch, and their nutrition composition given, diameter 30%, and pelleted feed, we all know this is a dry feed, so it contains 90% diameter, wheat star 89% diameter. So their CP content is there and their energy value mentioned here. So, so considering these nutrient content and their requirement, we have to fulfill their requirement by using in appropriate amount. So in case of, so if you give maize silage 30 kg at such basis, on diameter basis, it will be converted into in 9 kg because it contains only 30% diameter. So 30 multiplied by 30 divided by 100. So next pelleted feed, it contains around 90% diameter. So it will come on diameter basis, it will convert in 9 kg, likewise wheat straw. So total DMI will be 20 kg, as we have mentioned in the previous slide, total diameter requirement 20 kg. So by giving this amount of feed and silage and wheat straw, we will able to fulfill the diameter requirement 20 kg. And likewise, in case of protein also and energy also, we are able to fulfill their requirement. So it is not a very tough task to formulate a ration for any level of milk production. If you know their requirement of diameter, availability of feed ingredient, and their nutritional composition, just calculation based. So, what are the indication? What we have given a cow ration in balanced ration is it is in terms of if a cow showing a good physiological conditions, so it indicating that it is receiving the good conditions ration. Say example, curd rate. If a cow having less than 40 and between 50 to 65 and more than 70 curd rate. So less than 40 means cow having more concentrate, less of roughage. Between 50 to 65 means cow having more balanced ration in terms of roughage and concentrate. If more than 70, cow having cow getting less concentrate, more roughage. So what is the curd rate when an animal swallow the feed ingredient? How many cycles he takes to further swallow the particular feed from the mouth? It is known as curd chew, and these are the standards. And I have mentioned a table for the milk production and potential diameter intake. Likewise, say example, a cow producing 35 liters of milk and body weight of 400 kg. So their diameter requirement will be 19.5 kg. Likewise. Then again, this is the by mastication, and now what is the manure scoring? If a cow having good manure score, it means it is feeding with the good balance ration. So what are the indications? So cow, a different category of cow, different manure scoring are mentioned here. Say example, dry of cow should be around 3.5, close of cow 3, fresh cow should be 2.5, and high production 3, and late production 3.5. So there is a manure scoring from 1 to 5. I will show in next slide. This is the manure scoring scale and their consistency. So for optimum production, we have the manure score around 3. So example, if 1 is there, more higher concentrate are given to the cattle, and there will be pieces watery thin like diarrhea. 2, very dilute consistency. 3 is the optimum. 4 is the high roughage given to the cattle, and 5 is the very fibrous foods are given, no concentrate was given. So these are the indications by the mastication and by the seeing the dung of the particular animal. If they are not any physiological illness, facing any physiological illness, these are the indication of a cow or a cattle or a buffalo getting the proper amount of balanced ration in terms of all nutrients by their mastication pattern and their consistency of the dung. So now the main part, what are the different methods for the concentrate formation? These are the 5 methods: Pearson square method, Elbring method, thumb rule, linear programming or least cost formulation, and hit and trial method. We will discuss one by one. Method first one is Pearson square method. Very easy and very useful in terms of you if you have only 2 to 3 ingredients. So first, what is the required protein? We have to just say example. It's named Pearson square. So there is a square, and what is the required value? Say example protein. We have to put their required value, and whatever the ingredient, the ingredient having the lowest CP content, we have to put in the upper side. The or in number of ingredients higher than the one, so we have to take the average CP content of the low protein or high protein, and part of the high protein and part of low protein. We will take example. Say a farmer want to prepare a concentrate mixture containing 20% CP by the use of maize, and then CP content is there 8.5% and GNC protein 40%. So we have to put low protein content maize here and high protein content GNC here. So total protein required is 20. So we have to subtract them from 20 minus 8.5. It will be 11.5 for protein supplement, and from 40 minus 20, it will be 20 for basal feed for the maize grain. So amount of basal maize grain 20 divided by total. We will add 20 and 11.5. It will be around 31.5. So likewise, it will come around 63.49 kg, and in protein supplement, it will likewise comes around 36.51 kg. So in case of 100 kg, the maize will 63.49 part, and GNC will be 36.51 part. So this formation will provide the protein content of 20% only. So this is the basic information. If you are using number of ingredients, so we have to take the average of energy rich, and we have to take the average of protein rich, and likewise the same we can formulate a ration. Again, another example, CP requirement, maize CP 9 and GNC CP 45, CP requirement 22%. We will follow the same way. Then algebraic method or simultaneous equation method. We know that is a basic equation like a plus b is equal to 100 or a plus b plus c is equal to 100 can be used for the calculation. So say we have to compute a ration 20%, and available ingredients are maize and GNC. So CP contain 10% and GNC 45% CP and their TN value. So just basic, we all know a plus b is equal to 100. This is the basic equation formation. So we have to put the 10 CP of the maize and 45 of GNC. So 10 divided by 100 plus 45 divided by 100 is required 20% CP. So equation number second will come. So now multiplying equation 1 with the 0.1 to get the equation third. If we equation 1, that is a plus b is equal to 100 multiplied by 0.1, we will get the equation third. That is 10.1 is equal to 0.1 b is equal to 10. Then now subtract that equation number third from the equation second, we will get the value of b. Hence, we will be 28.57%. We can subtract from the 100. So B is the GNC. The GNC content will be 28.57 content, and A is the maize by dividing subtracting from the 100. Minus from the 100, we will get the value of maize grain. It will be 71.43. Very simple equation. And the thumb rule says that 1/3 part of each cereal and oil cakes and byproducts are used. Example, oil cakes we use to 35%, cereal grades 25 to 30%, and cereal byproducts 20-35%, and molasses, mineral salt, vitamins, etc. So by using this method, we can formulate a ration concentrate having 15% TCP and 70% TDN. Then least cost ration by linear programming method. So least cost and profit. What is the importance to least cost? To make the more profit and maximizing the ration. This is computer software based. So we will discuss in detail. least cost ration, as it indicating the least means minimum, cost means in case of terms of price and ration. So require we have to give the all inputs requirement for the growth, maintenance, production, work, etc. And this is the software based. What is the advantage of least cost ration? There are so many advantages, like it incorporates the non-conventional feed process also. It will save the time and labor and fulfill the requirement of animals, and even poor farmer can afford the by using the least cost ration, and increase profitability for the dairy farmers. And give some more productive efficiency with the least cost. Least cost rationing is a program, computer-based program which uses the data, all the data, whatever we are going for the incorporate for the animal, like maintenance requirement, growth requirement, production requirement, and it select the ingredient for the same. So importance of using locally available food feed resources, their economic consideration, they are low in cost, sustainability. If you are using locally available feed resources, it will be available for all the time, and environmental impact also. So least cost ration methodology, linear programming, I've already discussed. It's mathematical optimizing techniques, and optimization. It uses optimization algorithm. So steps, say steps for the least cost ration formulation. First one is the define the nutrient requirement as per the feeding standards. We have to discuss requirement, put the requirement for the dairy animals, broilers, etc. And the list of the locally available feed ingredient. Whatever locally available feed ingredient, we have to enlist in that software, and input the data in the software. So many softwares are there. In case of cattle, in case of poultry, like WinFeed, Ecomix, brands, Nutrimix, so many softwares are there. And the run optimization, evaluate and adjust. Basic steps are there. We have to give the complete information. That's all. Then factors affecting the least cost ration, the ingredient availability, local available ingredients may vary, and then nutrient profiles also, and nutrient composition, and market price and seasonality. Say example, so many locally available feed resources are not available in off seasons, and formation constraints, their complete nutrition value we have to analyze before using the local feed resources. And other challenges are like presence of intentional factor. I have already discussed. When we are non-conventional feed resources, and so many intentional factors are there, so we have to consider them also, and their availability, then quality control, and so, and nutrient availability also in terms of carbohydrate, fat, protein, and mineral. So many variations are there in non-conventional feed resources. So many softwares are there. I have already discussed. Say example, the first step, we have to put the data regarding their input the data regarding their body weight, their pregnancy status, their milk, their milk fat content, whatever the inputs we have giving. We are going to formulate a particular animal ration. We have to give the complete information to the software. So it will select the whatever feed ingredient you want to. If you're having the data, each and every ingredient you have to select from the tables, and it will automatically formulate a least cost ration by when you click on the run button. Say example, in this we have shown here so many ingredients are there. Even we can fix their maximum and minimum limit, and what are the price we are targeting for each kg of ration formulation. Say example, 25 rupees, 30 rupees, yeah, less than that. We can fix here price also, and according to that, the software automatically will select that particular ingredient which are low in price and which fulfills the requirement of input data for particular animal which we have given to the software inputs. So many softwares are there. I have enlisted very known software and their origin and their method and the target users. Say example, Nutrimix. It is a linear programming based. It is used for the animal nutrients and feed packers. WinFeed and Denmark for farmers and animal feed companies. Ecomix, UK-based software linear program optimization algorithm, and for feed manufacturer is nucleus and small medium enterprise. Prill software, very renowned and most very high software cost also, and very accurate and very renowned software. Large scale for feed production research that even industry used to build software. So this is the basically so many software, number of softwares are there which are used by the animal nutritionist and by the you can say dairy industry and farmers for the formation of diet to their animals. So I have enlisted some of them. Other apps are also available on the simple within different platforms like ICR, NIP feed chart, dairy ration formulation, poultry feed formulation. So many apps are also available. Or these totally based on the linear programming, and they require very basic skills to formulate a ration until unless we have the complete information, all the ingredient which we are incorporating to take the output from that particular app or software. Say, if we have all the ingredients and their composition and their nutrition content, and we have incorporated the exact value, the software automatically give the least cost ration with least cost ration with best formulation of a diet. So another ration balancing program was developed by you can say run by NDDP in 2017 to 2022. I was a part of that. We are used the linear programming software INPAR, where a computer a laptop was given with this software. We used to go to the village area and take their locally available feed resources and their body weight, their basic data, and their meal production. Likewise, so we have a ration balance output given to the farmers for the balancing of ration. So it was a very successful program developed, run by NDDP. So these are all about the whatever we have discussed about the least cost ration, and so comes on the conclusion. The feed cost is the major cost of recurring cost of livestock production. Imbalance feeding is the major limiting factor for livestock sector. Least cost ration formulation using locally available feed resources offers a cost-effective and sustainable solution for the animal nutrition. By using local ingredients, farms can reduce the cost and improve the sustainability and increase the profitability. Thank you. So this is the total output of my presentation. So we have included all the feed ingredient, their nutrition value, different software used for the least cost formulation, and what are the pros and cons using the software and challenges. Thank you so much. Thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Ramdev. Now, session is open for discussion. If anybody have any queries, you can ask questions from participant, those who have joined online. Dinesh Acharya ji just raised their hand. Dinesh ji, you can ask question.